So we talked today about leaf structure and simple leaves versus compound leaves. So when we look at these two different leaves, this is a fern leaf and this is one leaf. When we look at this different piece from a bush, it's actually separate leaves, but they kind of look similar. So how do we know? And identifying leaves is an important step in being able to identify the different species and different families. So I'll guide you through the process of figuring out what's a leaf, and then once you find the leaf, if it's a simple or a compound leaf and how many times it's divided. So first, we identify a leaf by looking at the axil if you have a lateral bud. So when you have single leaves, you see that at the base of the petiole right here, you would find a little bud where a new stem could grow. So you have a lateral bud because these are separate leaves. When you're looking at one compound leaf with leaflets, at the base of the leaflets, there's no lateral bud, so no other branches could arise from that space between the leaflets. Also, it just happens that these leaflets are all on the same plane and these leaves happen to all be at the same plane. But in most plants, when you look at how the leaves are disposed on the branch, they are on different angles, and quite often they are not all on the same plane, while leaflets, they are all on the same plane at all times. Okay, so if we make an example of the general structure, you would have here the primary axis. So that's the primary axis of the leaf. We would have the secondary axis like this. So mark that as number 2. And you will have a tertiary axis coming like that. And what is forming these axes? That's the vascular system of the leaf. So if we make, I'm going to draw here this exact same structure multiple times, and then I'm going to draw the blade, which is the flat photosynthesizing part of the leaf, in different ways so that we have the compound leaves, the simple leaves, and you're going to see how they grow around the vascular system, and that will allow you to identify one type of leaf versus another. So on a simple leaf, the blade, or the green flat photosynthesizing part of the leaf, goes around the whole vascular system. So you see one continuous blade all around the vascular system. In a pinnatifid leaf, or if you look at a pinnate too, in a pinnate, what we see is that the leaflets are separate. So the central axis, what I labeled here as number 1, doesn't have blade around it. And on the secondary, tertiary axis, then you have the little blades. And in the pinnatifid, it's like the pinnate, except that it doesn't completely go out. It looks like it's pinnate, but it's still, you find some blade around the central axis, but it's cut closer to the axis, and it seems like you have the separate leaflets. Okay, so here the rachis, which we call the central part, is really free of blade, while here you have the blade going around. Then we have pinna pinnatifid. And in this case, the central, the rachis is free. And we look at the leaflets, and it goes closer to the secondary and the tertiary axis. But still, it's only around the central, only the central rachis which is free. That's bipinnatifid, and I did it wrong. Because it's bipinnatifid, it's pinnatifid in both ways. Sorry, it goes around the central axis as well. So it seems like it's pinnatifid, but it's still. So the whole vascular system is surrounded by blade, except that it cuts deeper along the secondary, the tertiary axis. Now we have pinnate. Pinnatifid. In this case, yes, we have separate leaflets. Oops. And the leaflets have a blade that comes really close to the vascular system. So pinnate because the central axis is free, pinnatifid because the leaflets, they have these deep notches, but they are still continuous. The blade is still continuous. Then bipinnate. So in this case, we have separate leaflets. Oh God, I forgot something else. So what we see is that the secondary axis is free of blade. Okay, bipinnate. Then we have, I don't know if it will get to the right level of resolution. Bipinnate. Let me write. So there's another level of detail here that I didn't add to the other ones, which are the vascular system within each subleaflet. So here you would have them going like this. They cut into like a quaternary axis. And you would have the same thing happening here. Oops. And then trepinnate. In that case, there's complete separation from the first, the second, and the tertiary axis. So you have very small leaflets. So you have 1, 2, 3 axes that don't have any blade surrounding them. And there's another type of trepinnate that we are going to see in ferns. So also So this we are going to see in maidenhair fern. So we have the first, the second, the tertiary axis, and then we have the separate leaflets. Go like that. Oops. But you see that the blade is 1, 2, 3. Only at the fourth level of division that you see the blade attached to the vascular system. So this being able to identify what is a leaf. At the base of the leaf, you have a lateral budge. So that's your lateral budge. At the base of the leaflets, there's no lateral budge. Leaflets are all on the same plane. And by looking at how many times they are divided, that will allow you to better identify the species you're looking at.